How to draw an ellipse using basic materials. Here we have the index. Introduction. In my presentation, I will explain what is an ellipse, and I will label each part in an ellipse. After that, I will list the steps of drawing an ellipse by using basic materials. So what is an ellipse? In mathematics, an ellipse is a plane curve surrounding two focal points, such that for all points on the curve, the sum of the two distances to the focal points is a constant. As such, it generalizes a circle, which is the special type of an ellipse, in which the two focal points are the same. Here are the parts of an ellipse. At the center, we have the center. Then, the longest axis is called the major axis. And the end of the major axis, we have a vertex. And the shortest axis is the minor axis. And the end point of that is called a semi-vertex. Here we have the focus, which is always on the major axis, and the other focus. And both of them are called a foci. Here we have the equation of an ellipse. It is x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals to 1. As we know, h is the x coordinate of the center, and k is the y coordinate of the center. A is half of the major axis, and b is half of the minor axis. So as we can see, here we have a type 1 and type 2. The ellipse might be vertical or horizontal. So it's the same, just we need to change the A and the B. So in this example, A will be on the horizontal axis, and here it will be on the vertical. Here are the materials we need to use to draw an ellipse. We need pens, pencil, a paper, a string, a board, and compasses. Step 1. Start with the height and width of the desired ellipse. The two lines are the major and minor axes of the ellipse. The major axis is the longer one. It's up to you to choose how do you want your ellipse to be, horizontally or vertically. Step 2. With the compasses, point on the center. Set the compasses width to half the width major axis of the desired ellipse. This is called the ellipse semi-major axis. Step 3. Move the compasses. Point to one end of the minor axis of the desired ellipse and draw two arcs across the major axis. Step 4. Where these cross the major axes are the foci of the ellipse. Label them F1 and F2. Step 5. Put a pin in each end of the major axis. They will be moved later. And tie a string to them so that the string between them is taut. The best way to do this is to push the pin through the string itself, if possible, rather than trying a knot. Step 6. Leaving the string attached, move the pins to the focus points F1 and F2. Put a pencil point against the string and pull the string taut with the pencil. Step 7. Keeping the string taut, move the pencil in a large arc. The pencil will draw out the desired ellipse. To avoid the string catching on the pins, you may find it better to draw the upper and the lower halves of the ellipse separately. Step 8. Done. The ellipse will pass through the 4 initial points, defining the ends of the major and minor axes. And thank you.
Today I will be drawing an ellipse. First, let me start with listing the equipment. We need a whiteboard, a piece of paper, a pencil, a ruler, 2 pieces of pins, and with a string tied to each side. We need also a compasses, and lastly a marker. So let us start. First, we get our paper and we start with drawing the X and Y axis. After that, we use our compasses to measure from the center to the vertex, which is the end point of the major axis. So the distance of the semi-major. We keep the distance the same and we put it on the semi-vertex, and we draw an arch on both sides. So now, after we have drawn the both arches, we will label each point. F1 the first focus and F2 the second focus. After that, we will place a pin on each focus. So a pin on F1 and a pin on F2. Here we have our setup already. Now we start to draw the ellipse. We split it into 2 parts. The top and the bottom part.